From Washington, this is VOA News. Islamic State claims beheading of British hostage, and Secretary Kerry talks coalition in Egypt. I'm Bill Michaels reporting from Washington. The Islamic State terrorist group says it has executed British aid worker David Haynes. The group released a 2.5-minute video purportedly showing Haynes being beheaded. Haynes, a 44-year-old father of two, was kidnapped last year, just 3 days after he arrived in Syria to work for an international relief agency. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is in Paris on the latest stop of his tour to forge an international coalition against Islamic State fighters in Iraq and Syria. He flew to the French capital from Cairo late Saturday ahead of an international conference Monday aimed at stepping up the effort to fight the militants. Nearly 40 nations have so far agreed to join the fight in some form, including several Arab countries. Scott Stearns recaps Kerry's stop in Cairo.
Secretary Kerry says Egypt is on the front lines of extremist threats, particularly in the Sinai Peninsula. So the Obama administration last month approved the delivery of 10 Apache helicopters that had been held up over human rights concerns. A senior State Department official says there has been contact between the Egyptian terrorist group Ansar Bait al-Mahdi and the Islamic State, also known as ISIL. Secretary Kerry says he and President al-Sisi also discussed Egypt's ongoing transition to democracy and the need for parliamentary elections. Scott Stearns, VOA News, Cairo.
The U.S. Embassy in Uganda has warned American citizens in the country to remain at home or in a safe location as authorities investigate a possible terror attack. This is VOA News. Sierra Leone is hoping to evacuate a doctor who's contracted the deadly Ebola virus for treatment abroad. Dr. Olivette Buck is the fourth Sierra Leone doctor to contract the disease. The other three have died. The government requested funds from the World Health Organization to evacuate the doctor to Germany for treatment that could save her life. She would be the first doctor from West Africa to receive treatment for Ebola abroad. Heavy smoke from Donetsk signaled a rebel artillery attack on Ukrainian security forces at the government-controlled airport. The attack is the latest test to a fragile truce in the region. Ukrainian Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk says Russian President Vladimir Putin wants to destroy Ukraine as an independent country despite a truce.
This government is the wartime government. And let me put it bluntly, we are still in the state of war, and the key aggressor is Russian Federation. And until we get the peace, it would be really difficult to have real changes.
Some Ukrainians benefiting from a Russian relief mission to the embattled city of Luhansk are withholding criticism of Moscow. Philippine maritime authorities are searching for survivors from a ferry with at least 84 people on board that sank late Saturday in the waters off the central island of Leyte. The Philippine Coast Guard reported 63 passengers had been rescued by early today. A spokesman said the boat sent a distress call after its rudder broke, leaving the vessel stalled as it was battered by heavy waves and high winds. The armies of India and Pakistan have stepped up efforts to evacuate thousands of people left stranded by some of the worst monsoon flooding the region has seen in decades. More than a week of heavy rains have led to floods and landslides which have washed away houses and bridges, killing at least 474 people in both India and Pakistan. Officials say flooding has affected more than 1.8 million people and left hundreds of thousands homeless. The flooding has been particularly bad in the Indian-controlled parts of Kashmir and in Pakistan's eastern Punjab province. Scotland, just 5 days from its independence referendum, with a new poll showing a decline in support for breaking away from the United Kingdom. The Survation poll released Saturday showed support for staying in the UK at 54%, while 46% plan to vote for independence on September 18th. Reporting from Washington, I'm Bill Michaels, and this is VOA News.
That's the latest world news from VOA.